Well, hi. Today is Friday, January 30th, 2026. I'm Todd Studer, and this is Morning Coffee. Had a great time last night at the Council Bluffs Area Chamber of Commerce annual meeting. We'll tell you more about that after the weekend. And also, hopefully by then, I think my voice is starting to improve, but we still got a ways to go. I tell people all the time that the voice that we hear is not the voice that's actually going out. So I have a feeling it's probably not as bad as I think it is, but it's still it's still pretty bad right now. Coming up today, we are going to talk with Julie Wyssman from Miners Healthcare and also a lot of other businesses, and she's going to fill us in on everything that is going on and what she is have cooking, and also some great tips on how to know whether your loved one might be needing a little bit of extra help and things for you to look out for. So that is coming up today on Morning Coffee. Morning Coffee brought to you by Steve Erlob, your Edward Jones financial advisor in Council Bluffs. Learn how he can help you reach your financial goals. Visit edwardjones.com for more. Edward Jones, member SIPC. Bloomworks Floral, bringing beauty to Council Bluffs for years with fresh floral arrangements for every moment worth celebrating. They specialize in creative wedding designs, stunning sympathy flowers, thoughtful gift bouquets, prom accessories, and local delivery across Southwest Iowa and the Omaha area. So, whether you want blooms for a special event or just to brighten someone's day, Bloomworks Floral combines local charm with expert craftsmanship. Visit ebloomworks.com. And after a 2-year renovation, a true downtown Council Bluffs landmark opened once again right where we are at today. The Park Building has been fully refreshed with new finishes, updated HVAC, and modern amenities, all while keeping the historic charm that makes this building so special. Office spaces are available. Single room starts at just $450 per month, and full floor suites are at $15 per square foot. Tenants can enjoy shared conference space on the third floor, guest Wi-Fi, flexible 12-month leases, and a location that puts you in the heart of Council Bluffs. The Park Building is open and ready for your business. We welcome into the studios on Willow. This is Julie Wyssman with Miners Healthcare, IV Hydration, Jay's Coffee, and anything else that you may have come up with in the meantime. But hey, great to see you again.
Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you so much for being here. And since you're a nurse, you understand that the way my voice sounds right now, yeah, it's fine.
It's called I just got back from Mexico cooties.
Is that what it is?
It is.
Is that what's happened?
It is, because I got it a couple weeks ago. So
how long do I have to expect until it goes away?
Until you go back to Mexico.
Okay.
So you better book your flight. Well, thanks for having me. A couple things I just wanted to kind of touch on today. As far as Jay's Coffee and Donuts goes, we have some new exciting announcements. We have two big announcements that we're going to come out with in February. But we are adding a lot of new menu items. We're adding a lot of breakfast sandwiches that we didn't have before that we're making our hands at building fresh breakfast sandwiches.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So we're just expanding our menu. We're just starting that first at the 100 block location, and then we'll start them at the other locations, Lauritsen Gardens and Viterra. So, and then we'll have them available in the trailer once the trailer comes out. They're both in hibernation now until April 1st.
How has the process been with coming up with those sandwiches? Because here's what I'm imagining. I can see your husband taste testing everything to see whether it's working or not.
Right.
And everybody else that's involved with it saying, okay, I like this one, not so much this one. It's a lot of testing going on?
It is. And it's fun because we have a new convection oven. So that changes everything with how we cook things.
Yeah.
So we don't have to cook on necessarily all these different platforms, and we have an air fryer, we have, all the equipment, so we're all set to make all kinds of good little take and eat things, quick things. Or you can sit in the coffee shop too and work and read and whatever else too, but yep, they're all ready to go, either eat there or take to go with you.
That's it sounds to me like just a natural progression with everything you're doing. This is the next step, so you're taking it.
It is. Everything's been low and slow, and that's very methodical for a reason. I don't have debt in any of my businesses. We've done everything super slow and different. And I really wouldn't change it any other way. Some people may see it as, slow to hop on the train, but I really am glad to be in the place where I'm not stressing about the next loan payment to the bank and stuff like that.
So if you had to do it all over again, knowing the length of time that it took you to get more secure with everything, you just do it all the same way?
Well, I might make some different choices.
But I mean, as far
But
as not
as
taking out
financial,
loans.
absolutely,
Right. Yeah.
absolutely. And not everybody's in that position. I mean, we just started out low and slow.
Mhm.
And there's different thought processes to it. You can go in, go big, go hard, and probably make a lot more money than what our mission is. Our mission is to be able to have Jay's Coffee in our day program and be able to employ people of all abilities. So we aren't necessarily trying to be the next Starbucks or Scooters. We're just trying to be a place where all people are inclusive and all people can have a job and work and have a quality of life. So we're not a typical coffee shop for sure.
Well, that sounds like exactly what we need in the area, and get more people working, and people that, as you said, ordinarily may not have qualified for a job, but with special training, and you can do that for them. I know this is something you've been working on for a long time. This itself is not a very quick, fleeting thought. This
Yeah.
goes back years.
Yeah, and it goes back years because I refuse to get into a loan situation to where it's not fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's like after you do something, you do a craft or you make sourdough bread and you're like, I love this. This is so fun. And then you start a bakery and then your livelihood relies on how many loaves of sourdough bread you make. It's stressful and it's sometimes not as fun. Now, we have a lot of great, successful bakers in our area. But, sometimes it's just not as fun when you're relying on it so heavily with money. So,
Well, Jay's Coffee, just one of the things that you are working on, and then you shift gears. I don't know how you do this so often through the day, because to me, every time I have to stop thinking about one thing and think about another, sucks about an hour's worth of energy out of me. Just that switch does. So I don't know how you do it, but
I'm lucky. I'm very lucky to have all the right people surrounding me, for sure. I have had a wealth of support from all peoples, from all walks of life, from all everywhere that support this and support us and my family and our leadership teams. They're top notch. So I'm very, very lucky.
now let's go ahead and switch gears. I'm going to take about an hour's worth of energy out of my head and switch over to vitality and talk about it. I've always been impressed with your creativity and the way that you bring things to the public, and you've created something for this as well that I think people will really respond to.
We, in August, we moved office spaces to the old Zalti's building over by off of Bennett, back behind Menards in the post office.
Yes.
And we call that the Well Nest because our focus is wellness. And we just had a play on the words because we love owls, and all of our logos have owls somewhere in them or branding. So we call it the Well Nest, and we feature speakers, classes, groups, whether they be grief groups or caregiver support groups, any kind of groups, in order to help us in some way. So we knew that we wanted to start an IV hydration business. So we started it both mobile, where we come to you wherever you are, whether it be getting a massage or getting your haircut, or you're at the gym, or you're on the golf course, or you're getting ready to go on the golf course, or bridal parties, or wherever. We come to you. And then we also have 2 chairs inside the Well Nest that we book for people coming in together or just wanting to hop in after work one evening and they get a vitamin drip and then they're on their way. So February, we are going to have a couple fun specials. If you book and bring a friend, your spouse, your sweetheart, your loved one, and you both get a drip, you both are going to get a free B12 shot. And everyone who comes through and gets a drip home or mobile or in the office in the month of February is going to be put in for a drawing for a free one in March. So it's about a $500
Really?
gift. So yeah, we're really excited for that. We're going to do a couple drip dates with a couple estheticians. We've got a gal coming in. She's going to do some Botox. We're going to do some face care education. As you can see, I'm not a huge glam gal. So no. I wear my PJs to work every day. And so we're going to do some education to those of us who may need it. So we're going to do some fun classes and some different things. So, but we're calling them drip dates.
How do people get signed up for that?
There'll be all over social media, and there'll either be an Eventbrite or there'll be a phone number they can call and sign up and or online. We have booking online too.
Perfect. And then also with Miners Healthcare, this is actually something that I've heard recently, that a lot of families going home for Christmas and may not see their aging parents as often, and they may notice a difference in what they're witnessing there. How can they identify, is it time to get some help?
That's a great question. The holidays are predominantly the time that people wait to either put a loved one onto a hospice program, or they say, we're going to wait until after the holidays and then we'll call in home care to come in and be here. For some reason, it's the holidays. We're going to get together one last time with grandma because she's really declining. Yet they don't have all the conversations in place, and they don't have all the parts, the moving parts in place to care for someone. And a lot of it I attribute to the generations. Nobody likes, like my age group is fine talking about death and talking about hospice because we're seeing it, we're in the midst of it. But generations above us, my parents' generation, my grandparents' generation, they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about, I've got the cancer, I've got this. But if we talk about it, we can not only decrease your anxiety, decrease your family's anxiety, but we can also start making plans. And making proactive plans is much better on your pocketbook than it is to be reactive. So if we are talking about, okay, Aunt Jenny, she is at home. She is taking her own meds. She says she's doing great. I mean, we think she's doing great, but no one's really kind of following it. Mm-hmm. That's usually the number one thing that we're called in for, is an unintentional overdose, where Aunt Jenny forgot she took Monday's dose and went back and took Tuesday's dose because she didn't realize what day it was. Right. And then about 3 p.m., she's like, oh, crap, I didn't take my dose. So I took 3 days worth of dose. And then all of a sudden she's slumped over, she's groggy. And then a niece or nephew comes and visits and says, holy crap, Aunt Jenny is not doing well. Let's call the squad, get her in the squad. There's a hospitalization just to find out she didn't take her meds right. And she's exposed to a lot of infections, a lot of cooties. And we didn't really need to do that. Whereas if we had somebody coming in and filling a pill planner, and maybe even having a care person come in the morning, make sure she has breakfast, make sure she has her meds. Awesome. We don't keep those pills around Aunt Jenny, so she can't make those mistakes. But it's just like taking the keys from the farmer. That is one of the biggest, saddest, scariest things to do for people. And I can come in and help kind of have conversations with people rationally, realistically, and say, we don't want an unintentional overdose situation. We don't want Aunt Jenny getting in her van and hitting another van full of kids. And just there are so many things that we don't talk about. Financially, we don't talk about wills. We don't talk about trusts. We don't talk about what happens if they don't have a long-term care policy and can't stay home. They need to go to a facility. They need to go to an independent living facility, an assisted living facility, long-term care, something like that. Those are costly. And so we need to have plans in place in order to make that happen for them. And people are just scared to have conversations. I can't even tell you how many patients we've come across that don't have either a full code or a do not resuscitate order or thought process in place. They'll say, 81 years old, in the ER the other day, I did an informational, and I said, so tell me, if your heart were to stop today, do you want it restarted? And she said, well, I've never thought about that. I'm like, these are all the things that we need to be having conversations about. After the holidays, it often comes a very lonely time because everybody, it's kind of the same situation as like after a funeral. Everybody's in town. And then they go home. And then mom or dad or whoever lost their loved one is so lonely. And we see some very significant depression. So please make sure that you're making some phone calls to those people. Who doesn't love a handwritten card that's not a bill, it's not some trying to sell you something, that's not a political ad, that's not something like that? Who doesn't love that? We do that a lot with My Nurse Healthcare. We send in hey, just thinking of you. Yeah. Thanks for choosing us. And then we have everybody sign all their initials. And you'd think that we were handing them a $100 bill by sending them something fun in the mail. But just knowing that they're very, very lonely at that time. And sometimes we have a lot of patients that we are their only family. All their kids live so far away. Live states and states away and don't always get the opportunity to visit. So making the most of the time that we have there with that one is the best. But checking in on loved ones, friends, family, especially in the bad winter moments, we've been pretty fortunate, really, this winter. But some of our friends over to the east and north have not. But knowing some of those little tips and tricks and hacks on leaving a little drip going in the kitchen sink so something doesn't freeze, having an extra blanket close to them at night if no one else is there, daily check-ins for sure. A lot of life alerts now will... If you hit the button, it doesn't go straight to 911. It goes straight to someone's phone. Okay. So that's a great gateway to get someone to be okay with having a life alert. Because it used to be, if I hit that life alert, all these firefighters and police officers are going to come get me, and I'm going to be getting out of the tub and I fell and, but really a lot of them go directly to a phone number of a trusted source. So that's great. And then they can come and check on you and decide if you need to go to the ER.
What I'm hearing then is the moral to this story is it's better to have the conversation when it's a choice to have the conversation rather than when it's a requirement to have the conversation.
Yeah, especially when we see and we know so much more about senility, Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's, Lewy body, and we have a lot of great information and education out there. There are age-associated senilities that aren't directly related to dementia. So which comes into play with eating. Like someone might not remember the last time they ate. Somebody might take their meds 3 times in a row. But those are things we can fix. We can be proactive about versus, sometimes we don't know that someone's got dementia until they drive away and drive 3 hours away. And then everybody in the world is looking for them, and it's snowy and icy, and their car breaks down and they get out and start walking. Very dangerous situations. But we can't talk about the patient without talking about the caregivers. And being a family caregiver is the hardest job in the world because your brain never shuts off from everything going on at home. You can't go home because home is where you're caring for somebody. You can't go to work because then you're stressed about somebody caring for your family member at home. So sometimes having somebody come in for an hour a day or 2 hours a day or once every 3 days is for you too. And it can be the best money that you've ever spent. And we understand that it's not cheap. Home care is not cheap at all. Home care is much more expensive than living in an assisted living every day. But it just depends on what your goals are.
Right.
If you have the money and your goals are to live and die at home, we can make that happen. But if you don't have the funds, there are other places, other choices that you can do. And there are a couple great groups around here that help with that free of service for you that can, answer some questions. But I am very happy to be a resource for anybody. I don't charge for any of the consultations or the resource stuff. You can call and, we can walk through a mock conversation about, hey, I've got to talk to my dad about taking his keys because when he drove home today, he drove up on the sidewalk and just missed the front door by 2 inches. And that's too late to talk about, driving. But we can come up with some good ideas as to, well, now we can get somebody to come out and visit with you and they can go to Burger King with you. And you can have somebody to eat lunch with. And, so when you start seeing falls regularly, that's definitely a time to have somebody come in. When you're seeing wobbling, when you're seeing unkemptness, that means, I'll tell you most of the time, that they're scared of falling and they don't want to get in the shower or the tub anymore. And we can help them get in. Yesterday, I went and saw a patient, helped her get in the tub. I let her alone to do her business, and she yelled for me when she was done, and I helped her get out of the tub, get dried off good, but she got to do her business all by herself. And she loves to soak in the tub. So there's lots of ways that we can maintain their dignity, yet keep their skin clean, keep their body clean, keep their home clean. Because in their head, they've been a homemaker for 70-something years, and
they don't think they need the help or want the help.
Nope. Yet they've got gnats, they've got old food in the fridge because they think they're going to the fridge every day, but they're really still eating microwave meals sitting in front of their TV. But we can come and maybe we bring them a little lunch and we can sit with them and have lunch. There's a lot to companion care and conversation, especially when they spend the majority of their days sitting in front of TV and watching soaps, and they enjoy that, but it's nice to have a good conversation with someone too. So
is the minershealthcare.com a good starting point to set up one of those conversations?
Yep, and you can leave a message on the website or you can call our number, and we've got someone who answers the phone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And if you just say, I just need to get Julie a message that I just need her to give me a call, they'll send me your number and we can talk through it. And I'm happy to come out to your house. We do consultations all the time. We call them informationals. And we go out and we say, okay, tell me what you got. You got this, you have an aunt that you're taking care of, you're still working full time. What if we can get Meals on Wheels in here for you? What if we can get if we can have one of our caregivers come in for an hour in the morning and an hour at supper time to make sure they're eating supper too, and then get everything ready for them to be able to hop into bed themselves, maybe they're strong enough to do that still.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you have a hospice patient who cannot be by themselves 24 hours a day, and you need some help with night shifts. You go home and sleep at night so you can come back in the morning and you can take care of business for your loved one all day. And then we can come in and sleep and when they're sleeping, and we stay awake. We don't sleep, but
Mm-hmm.
we can come in when they're sleeping and make sure they're safe and they're not in pain. And then they sleep good, and then they can have good interactions with you in the morning. So it's not a one size fits all. It's a care plan. So your care plan is different than my care plan would be than, someone else. So, but we're happy to come in and do an informational and see what you need.
And all of those reasons are why it's important to have the conversation, learn more.
Mm-hmm.
And I say it a lot that information is never a bad thing. It can be bad news, but it's still good to know.
Oh, I would much rather be educated than uneducated.
Exactly.
For sure. Because like I said, being proactive is going to save you a lot more money than if you're reactive. If you wait till Aunt Jenny falls and she goes up to the hospital, and then those discharge planners and social workers tell you, yeah, guess what? She cannot live on her own.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're scrambling, looking for care, looking for a new place to live, and then you're dealing with the dynamics of telling Aunt Jenny, sorry, but you're not going home. You're going to a long-term care facility. But if we can have a plan in place, it's much better and much cheaper for you.
MyNurseHealthcare.com is the website. Check it out. Schedule a meeting with Julie and learn a little bit more about what this organization can do for you and your loved ones. And thank you so much for coming in.
Well, thanks for having me.
I'm always grateful when I get a chance to see you and get a chance to talk, because I leave smarter than when we started. Happens every time.
You're so funny. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. We'll see you again next time.
Yes, thanks.
If you have a leak, a clogged drain, or if you're planning a big remodel, Waldstein Plumbing in Council Bluffs has you covered with fast, reliable service and expert craftsmanship, handling everything from small repairs to major installations. They take pride in doing the job right the first time, residential or commercial, big or small. When plumbing problems strike, get a hold of Waldstein Plumbing. Their website is waldsteinplumbing.com. And technology should work for you, not against you. And at ThinkSpace IT, they provide expert IT solutions to keep your business running smoothly and securely. From cybersecurity and cloud services to network management and tech support, they simplify IT so you can focus on what matters most. Stay protected, stay connected, stay ahead. Visit ThinkSpaceIT.com. That is going to wrap up today's show. Thank you, Julie Wyssman, for being our guest today. And it also wraps up the week. How about that? We've made it to the weekend. And I'm going to rest the voice up over the weekend and see if we can't come back on Monday with a little bit better. My name's Todd Studer, and we'll see you then.